Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing the Dawn of Pangaea from Triceratops, as well as the expansion Wild Woods. This is a prototype, all rules and components subject to change, and I'll have a link to the crowdfunding campaign down below. And let's go ahead and start by telling you how you score points, and then walking our way back through actions, and then of course giving you my thoughts and opinions once you know how to play. The general idea is you're trying to score points. You're trying to move your marker all the way around this little track until you get to the 30 in the middle. It's a little hard to see over here. Hopefully that's a prototype issue as you move into the snow, but you can still sort of see it in person, but you're trying to work your way towards 30 on this track. The main ways you're going to be doing that are by getting points from cashing in these cards. You're going to have cards in your hand, and you're going to have a public display. You can either fulfill cards from the public display, then refill them as needed, or you can fill cards from your hand, and then refill to your hand from the public display. The way you fill in a card is there's going to be two types of cards, and you're trying to fill in either or both of those cards. There's going to be animal cards that require you trading in these various tokens you're going to be acquiring. We'll talk about how you get those, but you need to trade in the various nature tokens. Or alternatively, you have these cards, which require you to have a chain of trees from various terrain types. For example, over here, if we had a chain of trees connecting these over here, we'd be able to cash those trees in and score the points by getting that card, scoring specifically for the chain of trees, contrasted with these cards over here where they have a designated point total at the top. So basically create chains of trees as well as get nature tokens and trade those in. With that general mindset in play, how do you actually do things? Well, you're going to be taking two actions every round. There's a little player aid over here. You can use that, take any combination of two actions, including the same action. Starting off, you're going to want to place a seed on a free space anywhere on the continent. You have a whole continent over here. This will adjust based on player count. You're going to have one of each terrain type based on the number of players. So if you had a 3-player game, you'd have 3 of these, and 3 of these, and 3 of these, etc. There's 4 different terrain types. But to place a seed out, you're going to take a seed, and you're going to place it out. Let's go ahead and place a seed over here. That's my first starting turn because, I want red. I want red, plus it works towards connecting a chain. We'll explain more soon. From there, you can place another seed. For example, maybe I'll go ahead and I'll place this seed over here to start working our way towards doing various things. You know what? Honestly, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna place it over here. It is what it is. I'm trying to think strategically instead of just teaching you the game. The second action you can take, and again, you're taking 2 per turn, then it's your opponent's turn, then back and forth as you go. Second action is you can go ahead and move your spirit, or you're gonna move your spirit on a water space and let all surrounding trees become trees. I'm specifically skipping this one because you need a tree in order to do this action. So we take our spirit, we put it down in a water space, and then we take all surrounding things, all surrounding seeds, and make those into trees. That's the way we start getting our trees out. Which brings us to the third action. Again, pretending this is turn 2. For the first turn, we put out 2 seeds. Second turn, we place down our spirit. And then we also can now do this one, place up to 2 seeds on free spaces around your trees. So for example, I can go ahead and place a seed over here, and maybe I'll place a seed over here as well. I'm splitting my seeds. Again, I'm thinking strategically. I'm going to place a seed out over there. And that's one action to place out both of my seeds because you can place them from your existing trees, place them adjacent. Also remember, your spirits over here can only go on water spaces, and if they go on a water space that has a token, you gain that token. That brings us to our next action, which is going to be playing a ritual card from your hand. As you sprout your trees, one thing I did not do is as you sprout your trees, you're going to take nature tokens equal to the continent that they were sprouted on. In this case, we would take a winter and a wind over here. We would take both of those. Those would be tokens we'd gather, which would help us towards these cards. Which brings us to the next action. If you go ahead, you can play a ritual card from your hand or from the open market. If I have the requisite tokens, I can trade those in, take this card, and move my points up that many spaces on the board. The way you fulfill these cards is by having chains. And I'm going to put a few more trees out on the board because I want to show you how things play out over here. We're going to place that like that. I'm actually going to swap that there because I specifically want to show you something over here. And then we're going to place this down over here. If this is the current setup, I can now cash in this card over here because I have a chain of trees connecting this area to this area. And you might say, well, you don't have a chain of trees. Your opponent's tree is there. That's true, but you can actually score points for that, as can they, if you use their trees. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to score a chain using my spirit and my trees, and you have to be efficient, meaning I cannot go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'd have to pick one of these 2 to go through. You always have to choose the shortest route if you are able to do so. Long routes are great, but you have to pick shorter if you can. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and score points for my spirit, as well as the trees, removing my trees. I'm going to score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get from my spirit stays here. I scored 5 points, and I also score for using an opponent's tree. It doesn't matter how many trees you use of an opponent, you use 1 point. You get 1 point per opponent, not per the quantity of their trees that you use, and they'll get points as well because you use their trees. You remove your trees, you don't remove your spirit, you don't remove their trees. That's how you score for one of these cards here. As you acquire these cards, you're going to be placing them in front of you, creating a chain. You can see this little loop over here. You're creating those chains, and you're going to earn these tokens, and you can use these for the various guardians. The last action you can take is placing an ancient guardian and activating its power. You have to have the correct spot to be able to place a token out, which means that over there. Lands that are next to it allow you to place the matching type on either side of that, and then you're going to activate the guardians, getting an immediate bonus as well as an ongoing bonus that occurs for that guardian in general on the map. Generally, you're going to place it such that it benefits you, but as the board develops, it might benefit others as well. That's the basic cycle of what you're doing. Take the various actions to try to get your seeds out. Use those seeds, sprout them into trees. Use your spirits to grow those trees. Create chains, gather tokens, trade them in, do so more efficiently than other players. That is how you play Dawn of Pangaea. Now, I will give you my thoughts and opinions on this before talking about what the expansion does, because I think there is a key distinction here. But my overall thoughts on this game, and just going to the review of it, is I like the general arc. General arc is, beautiful components, great production, all that, and that's for a prototype as well. You're taking actions, just all about action economy. You're placing out your tokens. It's a semi-satisfying game. I say semi-satisfying because the scope and scale of the game doesn't allow for that many interesting decisions. I'd say the most interesting decisions could come from benefiting from the Guardians. But honestly, I didn't find the Guardians to be super impactful. They matter, don't get me wrong. Using them at the right times, the right places can help. But they weren't super cool. They were useful at times. If you don't use them, you don't use them. If you do use them, you do use them. It wasn't a big deal. You can trade these tokens in for a while, which often helps as well. It's an action efficiency puzzle. The most interesting thing was creating a board and creating chains of trees, trying to benefit from your opponent's trees in ways that maximize your point scoring over their point scoring because you don't remove their trees. But trying to find out using your spirit as much as possible in your chains because, again, you don't remove your spirit. There's all these small ways to try to get a few more points as you take things. My biggest critiques of the game are going to be the fact that for all that it's pleasant to look at and pleasant to play, there's not really a lot of wow moments. The game is fairly constrained. It feels like a very gateway accessible game. It also suffers from the fact that you want this to be a larger player count game because that allows for more interesting decision space. The nature of the board and using other players' trees, a 2-player game is fine. I haven't played it solo, so I can't comment on that. But a 2-player game is fine, but really 3 and 4 is where the game's going to shine. 2-player felt like it kind of needs a bit more interaction going on. So it really is nothing super critical about the game. It's just that it's a fine, constrained game that works at what it's doing, gives you a pleasant experience about trying to sprout your trees. The game doesn't allow you that many opportunities for super cool things to happen, so it's just an overall good game. But then I played the expansion. Wild Woods, to me, feels like it should have been a part of the base game. And this is always, you can get into a whole conversations around crowdfunding games and when games feel like they're split out. I feel Dawn of Pangaea is a totally accessible, totally fine gateway game that isn't super compelling. I feel Wild Woods gives it the exact room I wanted. I played the base game before I read the rules for Wild Woods, and I literally thought, one of the big complaints I have is you only have 2 seed tokens. That doesn't give you a lot of room for clever play. Even some of the Guardians who benefit you from having get extra seed tokens, because you're limited to the seed tokens that you have, there's just not a lot of interesting decisions as far as what you try to maximize in right away, how you try to build things up. It's just not super interesting. It's a good game. There's nothing wrong with it. I just play a lot of games, and this feels like a very gateway accessible game. Versus Dawn of Pangaea Wild Woods gives me the exact things. I think a token fell. I think maybe a card fell. Dawn of Pangaea Wild Woods gives me the exact thing I want to open up the game experience. It gives you, and I'm not going to set up all the stuff over here, but this player board over here gives you these treetop tokens over here, which you can trade to get your hands on them and make your trees larger. That's going to have several effects. The first effect is it allows you to sprout your trees further. The larger your tree, levels 1, 2, and 3, allows you to spread your seeds further on the board. Opens up the board a lot. Also, as you use your trees, you don't completely destroy them. You remove the topper when you use a tree. So again, lets you get things a little more competitively, set yourself up towards multiple chaining abilities all at once, opens that up just a lot. You'll also notice that there are seeds on this board. These seeds, as you earn 2 tree toppers, you get the matching seed, which opens up your seed game. Suddenly you have a lot more seeds, so that suddenly changes the entire game experience by giving you a lot more ways to try to build up your tableau. The game doesn't feel nearly as constricted. The base game feels very safe. Here's what you do. Here's the ways you can do things. It works. it just doesn't give you those fun, super cool moments, which Wild Woods opens up that game experience to do exactly that. That's the main thing Wild Woods adds. It gives you a few more small things, but the main concept is this player board with those expanded tree tops and with more seeds per player, and that just makes the game an overall better experience just because it opens up the game. So my opinion of the game changes dramatically with Wild Woods, because overall, the same core experience is present, the same thing that's nice, accessible, and all that, beautiful production, all that's great, but it suddenly opens up the game experience because you can do more. And doing more, the ability to try to choose. Now there's choices you have to make. Do you want to build up? Do you want to cash in your trees right away? How do you want to go ahead and how aggressively do you want to pursue those extra seeds? Getting a sprouting action where you get all 5 seeds, that is so much cooler than the decision as to do I do 1 or 2 at a time. It totally changes the game experience. So it frees the game experience. It opens it up to the players. So as far as final thoughts on Dawn of Pangaea, as well as the Wild Woods expansion, if I were rating Dawn of Pangaea, it's a 3 out of 5 for me. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it does a good job. It just doesn't super impress me as the base game alone. With Wild Woods, though, that's where it moves to a solid 3.5 out of 5. I debate even bordering upwards. It's a much more compelling experience. It's a lot more satisfying. It still does lean a bit more into gateway accessible, gateway friendly, but it really opens up the doors a little bit, opens the doors a lot. So the core actions are basically the same. You have one changed action and one improved action. Sorry, one changed action and one added action. But overall, it just opens up the game experience a lot more. A solid 3.5 out of 5. I debate even going higher with that, but it still is a little gateway friendly, which is for me personally what I like. I put it conservatively at a 3.5 out of 5. As far as other game recommendations, the two that most obviously come to mind of sprouting seeds and growing trees are going to be Photosynthesis and Evergreen. 2 games that have that exact core mechanic, but they all 3 of these games operate very differently outside of that core structure mechanic that feels very familiar. They all have different ways that they utilize that mechanic in order to help you score points, win the game, all of that stuff. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.